Hello, everyone. Welcome to
Hello.
You've stumbled upon the None of the Above podcast, home to the ill-informed and the misaligned. Thank you for tuning in. It's good to have you here. I'm Corey Allen, your intrepid guide for this adventure. Please keep feet and hands inside the vehicle at all times. Secure any loose items, and please, no flash photography. With me, as always, my girl Friday, slightly out of frame and completely off-kiltered, Miss Bernay.
Hello.
And joining us from the 100-acre wood, everyone's favorite North Country wildflower, Anna Rose.
Hello.
And joining us from the north as well is Off-Cam Dan, the big D behind the scenes.
Welcome.
Hello.
How's everybody doing?
Good.
We got a great episode lined up for you this time around. We'll
Can't
have
wait.
some good conversation, a bit of transparency, a dash of levity, and hopefully we can all learn a thing or two. We're going to check the news, track Anna's aversion to horror films, and touch on a subject near and dear to Miss Bernay, in line with the season, ghosts and hauntings. How we feel about that? Everybody,
I'm
wanna
ready.
talk about
Let's
some
do it.
ghosts? Have any ghost stories ready? All right. Well, first up, I want to clarify a few things about what's going on around here. We are hobbyists. We're not pro content creators. We're not looking to be Joe Rogan or Mr. Beast. But I always said I should start a podcast. You know, like for years, every time we'd get with some friends or whatever, and you've said it. Anna,
Yeah. We've talked about it many times. Like,
Yeah.
what would we do? What would, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And here we are, buddy.
Yeah, we're doing it.
And we're learning.
I told my niece that I should start a podcast, and the very next thing she said was, "Well, do it. Why aren't you doing it?" And I went, "Well, because I like to obsessively sit and overthink shit for about 6 months and then make the wrong decision. That's why
Yeah.
I haven't had time to do that yet." So that was a while back, and then we hooked up one night here, doing this just for because we're friends or whatever. And one of us said, "We should start a podcast." And I was like, "Yeah, dude, you just jumped and ran." And
Yeah. I've been thinking it for months. I mean, I'm a stay-at-home mother. So I've been thinking, all the time I'm at home. What could I be doing? I could be doing something. I know people out there doing stuff. And then we talked that one night, and I think it was you had mentioned, I want to start a podcast. And I go, hey, me too. Let's do it. And you were the first person that was ever like, okay, let's do it.
well,
And I think I was that for you.
yeah,
So then the next morning I woke up and I just started doing stuff.
you did. You went pedal to the metal for a couple of days.
Yep. And then you went pedal to the metal for a couple of days.
I think we all realized there was more to it than just jumping in front of a mic.
Yeah.
But
yes,
we're doing
it. It took a bit for me to, I figured it was pretty, and it is overall pretty simple. The concept is simple. Logistics are a different story, and technology. I'm no tech guy. I'm a dinosaur. I didn't grow up with computers. I had to do it retroactively. You know what I mean?
Well, we
You
didn't
guys-
grow up with
You didn't have
computers either.
in school? Neither one of you did. You guys
Well,
didn't
we
have keyboarding
we
or-
had a computer room once we got to middle school. We had a computer room.
Yeah, we were
that we
watching
would-
film strips.
Well, I mean,
we were looking at transparencies on the overhead projector. That's what we were doing.
we were having that too, and but they would bring in the TV screen on the cart, like they would wheel that in. I mean, but we would have projectors and stuff like that, chalkboard.
I think by middle school we had AOL, and at school we had the floppy disk with the Oregon Trail.
Yeah.
Yes, you have dysentery. Yeah, I loved that. Those choose your own adventure type games. That was awesome, man. Text games they call them nowadays, but there was a book when I was a kid, and we should have a sound effect for when I say when I was a kid so freaking often, because I say it about every goddamn time I talk to anybody. But when I was a kid, we had Choose Your Own Adventure. That's what they were called. Choose Your Own Adventure. It was a book. And
our daughter just got one from the book fair. It's a Choose Your Own Adventure Oregon Trail, actually.
No way. For real?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, dude.
That's the one she got. So
in book form.
in book form. So it's it's a chapter book. So So that's what she's been reading. She's been staying up too late reading her book, but
Yeah, I've been there, done that.
But that could turn out to be a very short book.
it could.
Well, yeah, if you make the first wrong choice, it takes you right to the end. You're done, man. The last one I had was about Hollow Earth, which that's pretty far out subject as well. But
Yeah, I
you
don't know if I've ever read any on my own. Like I've never read those. I always was into other, other kinds of books. But
I had a Goosebumps
novels.
book that was a choose your own path kind of
oh,
book.
Goosebump style.
Mm,
Oh, that sounds fun.
yeah, that's a generation beyond me. That was after me. It was R.L. Stein, though, right? Wasn't there a
Yeah.
TV show too or something?
Oh yeah, there was movies, all kinds of things. It was a big franchise there for a little bit.
Did you guys remember? I always also wanted to be a disc jockey. I've mentioned this before, but do you remember WKRP in Cincinnati? It was a TV show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lonnie
Now, I
Anderson.
don't remember much about it. You can't ask me questions I would
No,
not know the answers
but you
to.
know what I'm talking about when I mention it.
Yes, yes, I do.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to be that guy, and the same person that told me that I should just go and do the podcast when we were kids together, because she's only 2 years younger than me. We would do that. Sit at the my sisters had this what's it called, a dresser, and we'd pull the drawer out, and that would be like our keyboard, and then we'd have the curling iron with the big long cord on it, and that was our microphone that we used because it looked like a microphone. It's quite precious if you were there looking at us because we were so adorable. But I think that this helps fulfill kind of that fantasy
Yeah, absolutely.
doing this.
It's like a dream. Like you also have a really good like radio voice,
And that's what
I
people
think.
have been saying the past couple of days. I hope that's true. That'd be great. I'd love if
Yeah.
that was true.
I've always thought that. And I've always said that. Like
Hmm.
anytime it's ever come up in conversation, I've always said that. So, I mean, here we are. Let's just see
Here we
where it
are.
goes. It's
Yeah.
so far it's been fun and
Yeah.
I've learned a lot.
And that's
So,
what I keep saying is we're just having fun. That's why I kind of just wanted to say that. After I posted it and had people started watching it, I almost got kind of embarrassed for a second. I was like, man, this is showing people like an inner part of me. Like it's like more intimate somehow because it's
yeah,
here in my house and shit, you know?
throughout this process, I have realized how much of an extroverted introvert I actually am. Like I
Yeah.
can be extroverted whenever the time is needed, but ultimately I think I'm mostly an introvert. Like actually breaking down the
Close,
wall
close the
is like opening up this window is it's very different than how I live out in the open, in the wild.
yeah.
Out in the wild, I'm pretty quiet and pretty introvert until you get to
Yeah.
know me.
I keep to
So,
myself until I get mad. I'm not really that outgoing until I'm really pissed or motivated.
yeah.
Most of the people at work think that I have a bad attitude and they think I'm mean and angry all the time. And I am mean and angry a lot of times, but I'm not being mean and angry when I'm not saying anything. I just don't want to talk to you. I'm not just working, you know?
Yeah, but I think it's because they don't feel comfortable. They don't feel comfortable with themselves or they don't feel comfortable with you. It doesn't matter what it is. It
They have
has
to be.
nothing to do with you. It just has to do with their comfortability. Like you don't make them feel comfortable.
Hmm.
Like you don't go out of your way to make them feel comfortable.
Well, I try to stay out of their way. I don't bother them. I don't bug them. I just keep to myself. Stand over there and cut beef.
Yeah, but if there's like a cashier that's standing there and you're walking in, do you stop and say, "Hey, how are you doing?"
If they say that to me first, I do. I don't ignore anyone.
Yeah, you're not rude. I'm not saying that by any means. I mean, you're definitely respectful.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that you're a rude person by any means.
I can be disrespectful.
Well, we
What?
all can.
And I can be at work to my bosses. I run the line all the time, but I can't help it. I don't know how to. I've been trying to stop it for 20 years and I can't.
I also think, Corey, it has a lot to do with your size. Because if I yell and holler, that's not as scary as when you do it.
Well,
I mean, how tall are you?
6 foot.
Yeah. So that's a little bit scarier than a
Well,
5'3" woman screaming.
I agree that it can be intimidating. That's not what I'm saying. Is I don't want to be that way. I try not to yell and get mad, but I can't help getting mad. It's like being. Let's say we're in church. Okay, well, let's say you're at a fucking funeral for
Okay.
just a distant relative that you don't really know, but you're there out of respect for your family or whoever.
Yeah.
And whoever you're with does something that makes you crack up laughing.
Yeah.
Now you're laughing at a funeral. Everybody else is crying and boo-hooing, and you're fucking dying laughing because of this stupid, goofy shit that just
And that's
occurred.
happened to me before.
Okay,
And everybody turned and looked at us.
can you stop it being funny?
No.
Then how can I be expected to not get mad when shit makes me mad?
I can't stop it from being funny, but I can stop laughing.
I don't think you can.
Yeah, I can compose. If I turned around, which has happened, I was at a funeral
Well,
and
once
I was
everybody
with a
looks
group
at
of
you,
people and something happened and we busted out laughing and we turned around and everybody was staring at us. We turned back around, we snickered for a second because it was really hard, but we eventually composed ourselves and stood up. Like like we were like you just have to.
I think once everybody, once you've gotten scolded, it would be a lot easier to compose yourself. But trying to stifle a laugh just makes it that much more funny.
Oh, it makes it even harder.
Right.
Yeah,
So generally speaking, I think most people
absolutely.
couldn't. I don't know. I just fly off the handle, man. My dad had a temper. I
Yeah,
don't think
lots of
that
men do.
I don't think it's a temper. It's just, I guess that is what it is. If I'm getting mad
Yeah,
uncontrollably, that's my losing control of my temper, right?
yeah.
Tempered. I wonder if that has to do with like metal, like the temper of metal. 'Cause
Ooh,
you
I
can
don't
make
know.
metal lose its temper. Isn't that correct, Dan?
Yeah,
Heat it up and it gets soft. You get it tempered again, make it hard.
that is true, but I don't know how
That would be
that would relate
connected.
to
Mm.
getting angry.
Well, if you lose your temper, let's see.
You
It's a good
don't have your
question.
wits about you anymore. You're not the strong iron or the
Well,
Yeah.
strong.
yeah. If you have the temper, if you've been heat treated, you are stronger and you won't break. You won't bend, rather. And if you lose your temper, you will bend,
Okay. Yeah.
Makes sense.
I guess. And there's a correlation
Also, whenever
between.
you lose your temper, you act in ways that you don't want to act. I mean, I do that. Whenever I get
Well,
mad, I do and say things that I don't want to do or say, but it's a reaction. So I have to
yeah.
pull it back and control it before it even gets there. That's what's so hard.
Yeah, I act or react without thinking. That's what I do when I get mad. It's not that I do things I wouldn't ordinarily do, or I'm not thinking about anything except reacting to being mad,
Yeah.
trying to make them see what's,
Yeah, but those are your emotions.
yeah,
So those are for you to deal with, not to put onto them to deal with.
sure. That's kind of what I'm saying. I'd like to not be that way.
Yeah. It's hard though, man. It's
And,
hard.
and definitely. That's why I stay away from everybody. I don't interact with them because then I don't want to have to worry about that shit. I won't hurt
And
their feelings.
sometimes there's people that you gotta do that because you can't put the button out there. Sometimes the button's gonna be out there around those people, and they're gonna push it. So
Yeah,
sometimes you just gotta relinquish that button and relinquish your, accessibility.
I reckon.
But you gotta go to work. So, I mean, this happens it's customer and service, so it's really hard. I mean, customer service is one of the
It's the worst.
Yeah,
It's the worst.
yeah, yeah.
It's the worst. People are at their worst when they're buying their food.
Or their house or their car. Any big
Oh,
purchase or something they care about they're not nice. Consumers generally are not nice.
they're more picky about their food than they are anything. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding you. I'm telling you. Of all my years of experience, there's 33 of them. 33 or 34? Well, yeah,
Yeah, I
it's
don't know.
33. It's 33.
Working in the automotive field, and every customer that comes in has a thinks that you're going to screw them over,
Yeah.
and half the time they think they know more than you do.
Yeah. When they know very little, generally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mine usually say that they don't know anything. And then when I tell them how to do it, then they tell me that that's not the right way to do it. And I'm like, you just
Mhm.
got through telling me you didn't know how to do it. I do know how to do it. I've done it many times. It's like me telling a brain surgeon, no, that's not what you do. He's describing a procedure to me as he's closing off these veins with so and so. And like, no, don't do that now. Just use a Q-tip. Just have a Q-tip in there. It'll be fine.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
But
It's just all about controlling it,
I
you know?
guess I don't know how you
And that's
learn.
what's the hardest part.
I
It
don't know how
really
you learn.
honestly is. Yeah, it's not easy either. And sometimes you don't want to. Sometimes you just want to explode because you just feel like it'll make you feel better. And it does because it's a lot easier than working through all the emotions and figuring it out.
No, I don't think the way that it doesn't make me feel better.
No, it
I
never
keep
makes me feel
feeding
it
it,
makes me
keep
feel better at
feeding
the
it.
moment, but then I instantly afterwards
Well,
start to feel like crap because of how I reacted.
I feel bad almost immediately, and it's just because it's negative energy,
Mhm.
man.
Yeah.
It's
You
and I
let the
just
negative
feed into it,
overpower
and
your
if there's
brain.
more than one of us, if the dude at work, my partner at work, if he is in that same way, we just go back and forth feeding it. Yeah, man, you're right. This is so
Yeah.
stupid, and then he'll come back with some, yeah, man, and we'll do it all day long. By the end of the day, I get in the car and come home and I'm exhausted
Yep.
from the,
Negative.
yeah,
Yeah, I know. And it's so hard, but once you're in that state, because I was there, man, it was negative all the time. And you actually have to consciously is when you think of a negative thought, consciously think of the positive and sit there and say it until you believe it. And then
yeah,
eventually,
no,
I mean, it comes where people start, but and also if you surround yourself with people who are positive. That's one thing that I learned in rehab was that you always have to surround yourself with people with positive intent. Because the people with negative intent will win because negative is so much more powerful.
you don't get to choose who you're around at work. You just got to
So much
deal with
more
the shit
persuasive.
you
I
get.
shouldn't say it's more powerful, it's more persuasive. I think positivity, there's power in positivity,
Sure.
but
Yeah.
it's not easy to obtain.
No. And I always feel like, because like the supervisors and the merchandisers and stuff that come into my shop at work, that they're full of that corporate bullshit that that's, it sounds like bullshit when they're spewing it to me. You didn't sound like bullshit when you were saying it. I agree with the sentiment that is true, but they're saying it, after they've drank the Kool-Aid.
They're trying to get you to
They're
think about
pushing their
that while
agenda.
you're at work, but I think it has to start with your home life. Like, if you're always negative about your home life, then there's no way you're ever gonna be positive about your
Yeah.
work. I'm not saying that you are. I'm just
Yeah,
saying
I
in
don't I
general,
don't I
people
don't I
who
don't feel
are
I
negative
don't
about all their life.
I don't feel like I am. Brene might disagree with me, but I don't feel like I'm negative. I end up bringing the negativity from work home. It
That
isn't
happens
that
a lot.
I'm being negative about this, it's that I'm in that mode.
Mhm, mhm. That
Is being
negative mindset because you've been in it all day. So when you
Yep.
get home, it's hard to snap back into the positive and be happy with what you're living in because you know what I'm saying? Like, it's hard because you've been
Yeah.
mad all day.
And I've been on that track of every time, the dude at work saying some shit, and then me going, yeah, man, you're right. And so too. This and blah, blah, blah. And then every time we'd walk by, there'd be another little exchange of, yeah, can you fucking believe this bullshit?
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. I just need to retire. That's what I need to do. I need to retire and become a podcaster.
Yeah, let's do it, baby.
Let's do it. Come on. We gotta.
Okay. So I watched your movie, man.
Oh,
Sorry. Skipped ahead.
yeah. And what'd you think?
When's the last time you seen this movie?
When's the last time I watched it? I don't
Yes.
know. A couple months ago.
Let's tell the audience what you're watching.
Oh yeah.
The original
19.
King Kong,
Yeah.
1931,
Last week
1933.
you asked me to watch it.
Yes.
1933.
Yep.
Um
RKO Pictures.
mhm.
Yep.
So I need to first of all correct something.
Okay.
Last week whenever I said that I had never seen a King Kong, I think I have.
You have seen
Be-
this one?
No,
No? Okay.
no. But I do remember the whole storyline. So I think I did go to the theater and see a movie, a King Kong movie at some point, but I don't think I don't because I remember all the line. Like, how would I know the whole story if I've never seen it before?
You're right. It's been remade a bunch of times.
Right. So I think I've seen a remake
Okay.
along the way.
That's what I thought the
once.
other night when I had said,
Yes.
surely
So I
you've seen
wanted to
what
correct that. I
modern.
think I have because I knew the whole storyline. I
Yeah.
already knew the whole storyline,
Okay.
but it was hard to watch.
What?
Why?
Well,
Because
so
it was hard to keep my attention.
what?
Wow.
The special effects are distracting compared to what we grew up with.
It was
Wow.
distracting.
Well, that is true. It was in its infancy. Modern, though, that's the practical effects. They had a statue that they moved a little bit at a time and took a picture and moved it a little bit more and took another picture and moved it a little bit more. And that's how they ended
Yeah.
up with it. That's amazing to me.
I see where, like, I understand in my head, I understand, but I don't feel it because I am just like, the whole time I was watching the movie, I was honestly thinking, this is why they remade it because it's a great movie. It's a great storyline, but nobody can watch this. Nobody can watch this movie.
Wow. I've watched it like 50 times probably in my lifetime.
It's so, like, I mean, it is
Wow.
a good storyline, but it's very graphic too at times. Like, really,
Yeah,
like
dude. Rips that fucking.
he rips the people in half.
Yeah. He's a monster.
No,
That's what makes it a
when he
horror movie.
falls off of the Empire State Building and he
Yeah,
goes,
man.
no,
Yep.
I don't. Okay, that is too much for me. That's too gruesome. Too gruesome.
Wow.
Even for the little.
Even claymation, too gruesome.
Well, to be fair, it's not claymation.
Well,
It's
that's what it looks like.
It's stop motion animation. That's right, Renee.
Well, it looks like
Ray Harryhausen, who's a legend for that shit right there, got his start with that movie. He helped
was this?
invent Ray Harryhausen. He was like you ever see nah, you're never gonna see any of those movies. I'm gonna start talking to you about movies. I can't fucking believe that was the response you got from watching King Kong. Was that
No,
it
I've
was
seen the
so
whole
bad
story.
I
Okay.
couldn't watch it. It was distracting.
Okay, but my point, the reason why I said what I said first is because I already knew the story. So I didn't have to keep watching to know the
Yeah.
end of the story. I already knew what was going to happen. So that's why I said that in the beginning because I just had to sit there and watch the story that I've already known, but it was like the first, like you know what I'm saying? Like it's not
Yeah.
like I hadn't heard the story before. The story of King Kong, great, love it. But the actual movie from 1933 is kind of
Yeah.
hard to watch.
Wow. Well, that changes a lot of my suggestions for you then, because
I'm sorry.
you're not going to like anything.
Maybe not. But maybe I will because I won't know the story.
Okay, well, you know the story of Dracula, but that was number 2 on the list.
I don't know if I know the story of Dracula. I've never seen a Dracula thing.
Well, then watch the original Dracula.
Okay.
It's from 31.
Said,
It's 2 years older than King Kong. But there's no
wonderful.
there's no stop motion in it that I know of.
Be a little easier to watch then.
It should be. I think it's a step up in its suspense and spine tingling. A little creepier. But it's not gruesome. There's no violence or blood or anything like that in it that I'm aware of.
Okay, I could probably handle that a little bit better.
But it's creepy.
Well, I don't know. We'll see.
Unsettling.
We'll see.
All right. Well, please watch at least one
Okay.
more. If you can get something out of Dracula, there's hope for you.
Okay.
I did listen to the audiobook Dracula, one of the earlier books.
Bram Stoker's Dracula?
I can't remember.
Or was it an adaptation of a movie into a book?
No, it was
Bram Stoker.
Yeah.
Okay.
Classic novel.
John Harker and all that deal.
Yeah, and I don't remember anything real gruesome in there. It was more suspenseful.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. That was 1800s, I reckon. Bram Stoker. It could have been early 19s, but I think it was late 18s.
Yeah.
I think that's a good story too, man. And it's been told a lot of different ways, a bunch of different times. There's a version from the 70s with Frank Langella, who used to be married to Whoopi Goldberg. I don't think they're married anymore, but he it's more of a romance type of deal. It's pretty good. It's less scary and more romance. And
All
then
right,
there's
well, we'll
Lady-
put it on our list to watch.
okay, especially for Halloween. We get out of the spooky season, we can talk about some different kind of movies, but that's the King Kong and Dracula. The ones I mentioned were all mentioned because they're like low tier scary. They're not the real super scary horror movies.
Right.
You know what I mean? You had talked about not really enjoying the genre of horror because it made you uneasy, or it made you not you wanted to turn it off because it was making you feel anxious
Yeah.
and shit.
Yeah, it scares me.
I thought that these would get you to be able to appreciate the genre without feeling anxious or wanting to turn it off.
Okay, well then I think that like I do appreciate the story. I like the story. It's just
So out of 5, how many stars would it get out of 5?
well, I'd have to answer a couple questions and then make an average of my stars.
Kidding me?
Is this in comparison to all movies ever, like out of 5 stars?
Well, we can put I always say that it's one of my favorite horror movies because, like you say, it isn't that it's
Okay,
that
so this
great.
is what I would say. This is what I would say. If I think that the story of King Kong is great, and I would totally show it to my children and show it to people and say, "Yes, you should watch it," but I would not have them watch that one.
No,
I
you
would
don't.
probably
No.
watch a newer one.
I think the newer ones pale in comparison.
Why?
Part of the problem is especially the most modern ones. They're they're too slick. It's computer animated. It's the same scene. He rips the throat open of the monster the same way, but it's computer, and it's the same way that I don't like modern animation like cartoons and stuff because they're all computerized now. It's not real animation. I grew up watching guys that took a cell of film and drew a picture on it and then moved to the next one and drew a picture on it with they're moving a little bit and streamed a bunch of them together and put it through a projector and made a movie, a moving picture, an animation. Well, this stuff now is pixels and polygons and you know what I mean? Like it doesn't look the same to me. It looks more fake the more real it gets.
See, I think that I have the opposite view in that it looks more real. Like it does look like more realistic to me than the old stuff does. And that's what I would rather enjoy, something that's more realistic than something that they made out of real objects.
One of the bigger problems too, and I want to get back to the point about the rating system also and when I'm done with this, but part of it too is that most movies are made to be watched at the cinema. You know what I mean? Like we're supposed to be watching these on a big gigantic screen. I'm not talking about a 75-inch TV screen. I'm talking about like, a 30-foot screen, a giant screen. They're shot for that aspect ratio. So no matter where else you put them, it's not going to look the same. I think that's part of the problem too. Like Avatar is the one I always use when I have this conversation. I didn't even want to see that based on what it looked like. Everybody raved about he spent $900 kajillion animating this thing with, inventing new animation and doing all this kind of stuff to be able to make it. And I hate the way it looks. I never went to the theater. I bet you if I had gone to the theater and looked at that same movie, I would have had much greater appreciation for it than I do now. So having
Yeah,
said,
maybe. Dan, what did you think about it?
Ah, man, it'd
give us a number
be
out of 5. Give something out of 5.
two, maybe 3 stars. Just
Maybe 3. Okay,
yeah,
that's not bad. That's a pretty good rating.
Kong just did not move like should move. That's what it was. Just compared to everything now, it's just not realistic enough for me to,
It's not entertainment.
I guess, get totally into the movie.
It's more
Oh,
appreciation than
okay.
entertainment.
Yeah, have you guys either one of you ever watched a silent film?
I don't think I have. I mean, maybe in college because I had cinema.
Oh, we should have. Yeah, they should have showed you Charlie Chaplin, the Keystone Cops, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Metropolis. That movie's crazy, man.
I forget what we watched in cinema. I know for sure we watched Jaws.
Yeah, that's a
Oh,
classic.
and the Graduate.
Yep. You're trying
a
to
good one,
seduce
too.
me, aren't you, Mrs. Robinson? Yeah, and
That's
he
a good
just
movie.
laying there at the bottom of that pool wearing that scuba gear. Gosh dang. Can you imagine how horrible he felt? Moron.
So
Yeah.
what was your
Wow.
rating? 2, 3?
Yeah.
I would
He said
give
3.
it a well, are you the story
Let's
okay, I would give it a 2
here's
to
the
the
scale.
3
Here's the
because I
scale.
like okay.
1 is your least favorite movie, 5 is your favorite movie.
Oh.
Where would it be? Would it be at 1 or would it be at 5? Or would it be at anywhere in between?
Say a 2 to 3. I'm with Dan.
Yeah. Of your
Yeah.
favorite movies, so there are movies that you hated worse.
Yes, absolutely. There's movies that I've watched that had 0 point to the story, or movies that I've watched that I've looked at Dan, I'm like, "What the heck did we just watch?" You know, like, there are some really not entertaining movies. So, at least it was a storyline, it was a plot. It was entertaining. I mean, I get it.
And it
I
wasn't super
100%
long.
appreciate it, but I don't it's not something that I'm like, "Ooh, let's go watch that again."
You wouldn't watch it again?
No, I'd watch one of the newer ones probably.
Okay.
If I was
Okay.
gonna watch it again, I would probably watch one of the newer ones, and I
All
already
right.
even thought about it.
Well,
I was looking earlier.
there's a pretty good one from the 70s that stars Jeff Bridges and Jessica Lange. It's way campier though. I think the effects in that are much worse than the OG, but it's pretty good too. It's definitely a love story. There's a scene between him and Jessica Lange. Kong. There's a scene between Kong and Jessica Lange where they pretty much that they, for all intents and purposes, are getting it on.
What?
Yeah, man. It's pretty good.
Well,
It's a
and
pretty
that's
good.
what I
She
was gonna
falls in
ask
love with
you
him so hard. He loves her so much.
because I was gonna ask you because you said it was a love story, but a
It
love
is.
story between who? A
Kong
lot of
and
people.
Fay Ray, or whatever the character's name is. I can't remember.
Anne,
Yeah, Anne. Yeah, Carl
um,
Dunham.
but
Carl
she
Dunham.
mar but she marries
Yeah, but that's because it was the 30s. They couldn't actually say that it was a love story between an animal and a woman. They weren't even allowed to cuss or anything. They couldn't do anything on film.
yeah, that's why I wanna watch a newer one.
Well,
We'll see.
I think that's the pretty good one.
Okay.
What was your rating on it, honey?
On the original, I would give it a 4 or 5.
4 or 5 out of 5 because
I grew up with it and fell in love with it, and it's a classic.
so of your favorite movies, it's near the top.
Yes.
Well, I'd give it on my horror scale. I would give it a 5 because it's nearly my favorite horror movie. But as far as movie making, I would say 3. It's not, it's not the greatest movie ever made. It's the animations are clunky, and there's lots of like subtle racism and stuff that just existed in the world then,
Mhm.
on camera that was more open and stuff
Yeah.
then, as far as that kind of stuff goes. It's the 30s, man. It was barely the 30s. So,
Yeah, everything was definitely a lot different, you could tell.
yeah. Well, like I said, there's plenty more to choose from. I think the next best one would be the one from the 70s with Jeff Bridges.
Okay.
There's Peter Jackson did one with Jack Black plays Denham in it.
That's the
kind
one
of
I've seen.
Yeah, I think that's probably the most popular of although the newest one, Skull Island, was really good. I liked it quite a bit. And then the one after that I thought was a little ridiculous. And then I didn't even bother watching the third one of that universe because it's super ridiculous. Him and Godzilla team up and become a duo and a power. Like, get out of here. You're ruining all my franchises. Come on.
Yeah, I
All right,
need to
well,
watch another one.
okay,
I have
well,
watched the Jack Black one, and it does the storyline pretty much the same, kind
yeah.
of.
Yeah, it pretty much followed. Well, Jackson was a big fan of the original one, so he wanted to do it,
Yeah,
pay
most
homage
like
to
it.
it the most.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one I've seen. So I knew the whole story. So I mean, it wasn't like it was all new to me. I think if it was all new to me, I probably would have liked it a lot more.
All right, well, let's look to the future then. Let's do. You should watch that at some point, but also you should watch Dracula. I mean, I'm curious to talk to you guys about Dracula.
Okay.
If you thought that about, whoops, King Kong, we'll see what you have to say about Dracula. I
Okay.
think it's pretty good. Bela Lugosi's finest hour, in my opinion.
Yeah. My cousin is a big fan. He named his son after him.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Right, I knew that.
That's the only way that I know it. I've never seen Dracula. That's the only reason why I know. Because I was like, how did you get this name? And he told me.
Yeah, it's outstanding.
Yeah.
I think of some other people that are in it, but there ain't really that anyone would recognize. All right, well, good. There you have it.
Before you guys change topics, I gotta make a run, do some parental duties. I'll be back before your episode's over. But
Okay, it's quite possible. Hope so. It's good to have you there. Hope you come back.
Yeah. I'll be back.
All
All
right.
right. Everybody
Thank
say
you.
goodbye to Big Dan.
See y'all.
Later.
Bye.
Bye.
Careful.
Thank you again.
All right. Moving merrily right along. Should we check some headlines?
Yeah, absolutely. What's going on in the world today? Oh, Corey, did we lose you again? You're supposed to find headlines.
I did.
Hello again.
We're back. It's fine. Like I said, it's fine. We're not professionals. It's okay.
No, we never said we were.
No, but that's true. I just felt like I needed to clear the air a little bit. Yeah, here's a story out of San Francisco, from the AP Newswire. Very mean squirrel seeking food has sent at least 2 people to the ER in a California city.
Doing what?
Residents of a San Francisco Bay Area city are on the lookout for an aggressive squirrel that has sent at least 2 people to the emergency room for medical treatment. Joan Heblack told ABC affiliate that she was walking in the Lucas Valley neighborhood of San Rafael when a squirrel seemingly came out of nowhere and attacked her leg, clawing and biting. It clamped onto my leg. The tail was flying up here. I was like, get it off of me, get it off me. Isabel also said she was attacked while walking in the same area. The squirrel launched itself from the ground to her face and wound up on her arm, leaving it bloody. Both women went to the emergency room, and the TV station reported. Flyers have now been posted warning residents that the squirrel is no joke and that more than 5 people have been attacked by a very mean squirrel that, quote, comes out of nowhere. This is
Okay, so what's going on with the squirrel population? Like, why are they attacking people's feet as they're walking by?
There's just too damn many of us because people are afraid to shoot them. These are rodents. They need to be taken care of like a rat. Kill it and eat it. That's what I say.
That's
Shoot 'em with a gun.
disgusting. We're not going to do that.
You're not going to eat a squirrel? Oh, I bet Dan would eat a squirrel. If Dan were here, he'd eat a squirrel. You know who else would eat a squirrel? That boy of yours. He'd eat one.
Well, the boy and Dan have eaten squirrels because if
See?
anything is getting countrified out here, it is getting all countrified. It is not happening without everything. So yeah, they do. They eat everything. I don't.
Yeah. Here we go. How about this? No, screw you. I don't want that. Mom played leading role in influencing daughter, 23, to refuse chemo and do frequent coffee enemas, said the coroner. A young cancer patient who died after refusing chemotherapy in favor of 5 coffee enemas a day was adversely influenced by her conspiracy theorist mother. a UK coroner said Thursday. Paloma Shemirani, who was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin lymphoma in 2023, eschewed conventional treatment for the alternative healing path overseen by her mother, Kate Shemirani, a controversial health influencer. It seems that if Paloma had been supported and encouraged to accept her diagnosis and considered chemotherapy with an open mind, she probably would have followed that course, the coroner said Thursday. Paloma died at 23 last year from a heart attack that doctors believe could have been triggered by a large tumor compressing her airways. Upon her diagnosis, she was told by doctors that her cancer was treatable and that with chemotherapy, she had an 80% chance of recovery. However, her mother, a former nurse and known anti-vaxxer, pushed her to pursue alternative medicine. Kate, her mother, who was removed from the British Nurses Registry in 2021 after a committee found she had spread theories that put the public at significant risk of harm, and she had taken a leading role in her daughter's treatment. What the fuck is wrong with people, man?
What the fuck is wrong with people, man?
I don't have any problem with people trying alternative therapies and stuff, especially if you know it's not going to work, if it's, but if the doctor comes at you and says, look, man, yeah, you got cancer, it's bad, but I'm pretty sure we can take care of it. I've seen this many times. It's happened this many times. If you do this, this takes care of it. I could see why you wouldn't, but why would you think that putting coffee in your bunghole would cure cancer?
Yeah, I would like to know where this mother's getting her information. Like, is she she's an influencer, so she's not a doctor.
Former nurse.
Okay, so she's a former nurse, and I would like to know where she's getting her medical information from. Because if you're going to choose alternative medicine, which some people do for different things, but you gotta know what you're doing. You gotta know the people that are going to help you. Like, you can't just go on a whim and take your daughter's life at your hands like that. That is also, I guess the daughter's 23. She ultimately had the choice to do what she wanted to do, right? She could have still gone to the doctor and received the chemo that she wanted to receive.
Her mother, influenced her, more than influencing, YouTube or whatever. She was influencing her daughter to follow that same kind of path of reasoning.
Yeah,
I think that's crazy.
Yeah, I think there's a lot more problems than that.
I've heard of people taking coffee enemas, and I've heard of them taking them for health reasons, but I've never heard of anybody saying, oh, if you got, lung cancer, it'll.
Well, I can understand doing some homeopathic, alternative medicines or whatever, but I would either do them in addition to what I'm doing medically if need be. Like, if I got diagnosed with cancer and the doctor came to me and said, you can take chemo and it will get rid of everything and you should be fine and you'll go on and blah, 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 then yeah, I'm probably going to do it. But if he says, oh, you're going to get chemo, it's, you still got 25% chance, it's, still only 5 years or whatever it is, then I don't know if I want to live my last little bit of life in that state.
Yes,
like that I could understand.
Mm-hmm.
So if she was at that point and they were like, okay, well, I don't want to live like that for 3 years. So let's just do the alternative stuff because I don't want to have the chemo. I mean, I get that, but I don't understand thinking that you're smarter than somebody else. Like, you have to understand your outcome. And you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't think that you're smarter than everybody else on the earth.
I have a little different take on the whole medical scene myself, but I have contempt for all of them, for all medical professionals. They're all indoctrinated into, they're told this is what you do, that you check these boxes and you do this. None of them are performing any kind of diagnostics on me. They're comparing what I tell them to a worksheet. And the worksheet says, oh, well, the most likely is this. You know what I mean? None of them take them by a case, or at least none of that I've experienced. I don't want to make a generalization about all of them, but the ones I've experienced. They look at me, they look at how much I weigh, they look at my age, and based on that, they this is all what it is this. Well, you can't prove to me that you can't prove that the things I'm doing is causing the things that you're saying. If I stop doing them and it still occurs, is it still that thing that you said it was? You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I don't
Yeah.
I don't want to get off a big rant about anti-medicine.
Yeah. My thing is that you still, I mean, you ultimately at the end of the day, I guess she was 23 years old. She could have done what she wanted to do. She
Could've.
didn't have to follow her mother's
No.
advice. I mean, but it's sad. The whole thing is sad. You should be able, everybody deserves a long, healthy life. Maybe not
agree.
everybody, but
Well, most people.
I think everybody gets a shot at it. And then fuck it up for yourself. Fuck it up for yourself.
How about this guy? How about this?
Yeah.
65-year-old man has a giant head-shaped tumor removed from his neck after refusing to go to the hospital for 16 years.
With this thing hanging out of his neck.
Off of his neck. Look at this.
Oh
That's
my
the
gosh.
tumor
That's like an extra head.
off the back of his head. Doctors were
Wow.
amazed as the patient explained that he'd tried using simple ointments to treat the tumor with zero success.
And he couldn't tell that he
Uh,
wasn't succeeding in his efforts.
The tumor was identified as a benign lipoma, a fatty lump that typically grows while sandwiched between the skin and a layer of muscles. They remain doughy and grow between an inch or two, but continue to grow and even spiral.
This is true.
No ointments or folk remedies will help. The only effective treatment is surgical removal. Oh, it was near clusters of major blood vessels and nerves. His cervical plexus, it required near perfect precision. Had to land aside through the whole procedure. Yeah, did he? Where it didn't say if he made it or not? If everything was fine? Oh, way to go, New York Post.
They probably haven't done the surgery yet. It says refusing to go to hospital after 16 years. So he's not
Oh,
going
yeah.
to.
No. It was they had it removed from neck after refusing to go for 16 years. He went. That was the picture there were of the surgery. He's laying on a gurney and doing all the things.
That's wild, man.
All right,
Do
we
you
got.
think it gets to the point where you get embarrassed and you're like, okay, well, I know there's a problem, so that's when I don't want to go anymore?
I think he had to go. It got to the point where there just was no way he could continue living with this big head-shaped thing on the back of his neck. It was huge. It was as big as his head.
Yeah, and you can't hide that or nothing. I mean, it's out there.
No. I've had cysts and things that were large, like the size of a fucking walnut or something, but that ain't as big as my head.
No.
Burn out loud. You can kind of hide a walnut. All right, we got one more.
Okay, let's hear it.
I'm an ER doc, and people always ask about the weirdest things I've pulled out of a patient's butt. This is my craziest story.
Corey. All right, let's hear him.
An ER doc has gone viral for revealing the most outrageous object he's ever removed from a patient's butt. We promise you'll never think of autumn the same way again.
Oh my God.
The Chicago emergency room, Dr. Kenji Oyasu shared that a common problem he encounters is the presence of questionable objects lodged in the rectum. Whenever I tell people I'm an emergency room doctor, they always ask me two things. What's the sickest thing you've ever seen? And what's the weirdest thing you've ever pulled out of someone's butt? He said in a recent TikTok clip. As a veteran of the strange, Oyasu shared that he's seen many patients whose issues can be summarized as, quote, stuff up the butt, end quote. Of these, one anal enthusiast stands out for sheer object size and seasonal allegiance.
Oh my gosh.
A guy came in whose complaint was personal problems, which I always know is going to usually be butt stuff. The unidentified patient confessed to Oyasu that he and his girlfriend, quote, got a little crazy last night and put something up there and were unable to remove it. The unspecified something was truly sensational. This was a Yankee candle. And not the mini stocking stuffer variety, he assures. I'm talking about the big desktop jar. And not just the top, but the whole damn thing, he declared. Ever the
Oh
professional,
my
Oyasu
God. Oh my
resisted
God.
asking how or why, instead focused on an exit strategy. The question now becomes how to get it out. And really, for things that are really big, you can't just reach up there and grab them and pull them out because the suction causes a vacuum to pull it back in, he noted. To remove objects like this, Oyasu said you have to intubate the patient, paralyze them with anesthesia, put them on a ventilator as you would for an operation. You give them a medication that relaxes every muscle in their body so that you can go up there and grab it, he said. Oyasu added that after identifying it as a candle obstructing the exit, he and his staff placed bets on what the scent profile would be. This time I
Oh
won
my
the bet.
God.
Pumpkin spice. It was October. It was easy guess. It seems our candle smuggling hero is not alone in his pursuit of curious butt plugs. Nearly 4,000 people are hospitalized with foreign objects in their rectum each year. Of these reported cases, the average age of the patient visiting the emergency room was 43 years old. Nearly 78% of the patients were male and 40 required hospitalization, 40%. Over half of the foreign bodies were sexual objects, including vibrators, anal beads, and other sex toys, while the remaining inserted items were less obvious. Just think of the man who had to be rushed into emergency surgery after getting a can of deodorant stuck in his butt.
Oh my God. I just can't even. I holy a Yankee candle?
Yes, a
A
glass.
Yankee
Yes,
candle?
yes,
Oh my gosh.
yes. Have
Honestly, first of
mercy.
all, can I say first of all, whenever I talk to an ER doctor, the question of what's the weirdest thing you've ever pulled out of someone's butt is
Yeah,
not one of the first questions that comes out of my mind.
no. Well, and I guess, he does lots of other stuff, like he he doesn't have to. That's like on a nightly basis. How many of those does he get? You know what I mean? Like,
I guess it depends on where you're at. New York City, probably every night.
well, it's with Chicago, so I guess. Oh my God, what is
I
wrong?
cannot even believe that. That's fucking insane. So was it pumpkin spice?
It was
It
spiced
was?
pumpkin. It says spiced pumpkin, but pumpkin spice, same difference.
I mean, if you were the ER doctors, would you be betting? I mean, I would.
Yeah, well, of course. And we talk about all my customers. We talk about them all the time too. Can you believe that shit?
No, that's insane. Why? Never mind. I don't want to know why, but I just think it's bizarre that you would even think that you could attempt something like that. That's crazy.
Well, my thing is a Yankee candle is about that big around. I mean, that's like
Yeah, that's insane. Absolutely
the,
insane.
the
I can't
logistics
even.
of it, and the guy, talking about, well, we were just getting kind of frisky last night. We decided to get a little crazy and just stuff some shit up there. No, that's like a guy that's been doing that for years and has got it stretched to the point where he just, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, he did not start with the Yankee Candle. He did not have the
No,
idea of,
right,
"Oh, let's
right,
try
right.
this." No,
Yes,
it's worked its way there for sure.
that's my point exactly.
Yeah, and that's even more bizarre to me because who knows how he even got here? Like, I mean, Yankee Candles, you're right, fucking huge.
Yeah,
That's insane.
and glass.
Yeah, not safe, man. That is not safe.
No, I think people are messed up, man. I think people in general are messed up. Oh,
Yeah, I think in this day and age, with how easy our lives are and how, all that stuff, I think that it's just impossible not to be a little crazy.
yeah, I ain't crazy enough to be putting no Yankee candle up my butthole.
No, but it's still, I mean, who knows? Not one to judge, I guess.
Yeah, I you do what you want to do, but for crying out loud. All right. Well, that's the end of the news segment. It went fairly well. Brings us now to our next segment. Turn down the lights and pull those blankets up over your head. Huh? What was that? What was that? Did you hear that? We're going to explore ghosts. Anna, Brene, do you believe in ghosts?
Yes, I do. Brene?
I also do.
You believe they exist? You believe that all that stuff you watch is the guys going, oh, did you hear that? What? That's all real. Those are ghosts that they're experiencing. It's not just their producer shutting the door behind the, you know?
I think with anything, there's definitely some, you know, there's going to be authentic stuff and then there's not. And I think that's how this is too. I think there's a lot of stuff out there that's not authentic. But I think there's definitely ghosts and I think there's definitely
Yeah.
stuff that's been caught on camera, but I don't think it all is. I don't believe everything I see. And that's why it's hard to, I think that there's definitely different spirits on different realms still around us.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
Well, that's another question that I have is are ghosts just the dead, the spirit of a dead person that's, didn't go to heaven or go to hell or whatever, whatever you believe. Is that what ghosts are if they do exist?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm kind of starting to believe because my opinion's ever changing, but I'm kind of starting to believe that like the human life span, like your human life, is just a stage of your soul life. And I think ghosts are just another stage of your life. Like there's things that you gotta, accomplish in that field. And sometimes they cross paths and we see the other side. I think sometimes that does happen. Am I crazy? Possibly.
It's possible, but not based on that solely.
No.
You're crazy anyway.
And I think there's a
Oh,
little bit of everybody's belief, I do believe in that there's some reincarnation. I think if you can't, if your soul can't go on to the next stage of the life, it has to do the human life again. 'Cause it didn't learn what it needed to learn. But I think some people, they learned it. So they're on to the next one. Who knows? I don't really know. It's just kind of what it feels like. Because I
yeah.
definitely have seen spirits. I've definitely seen and experienced things. So I know that it wasn't my brain hallucinating. I don't have schizophrenia or any kind of I don't hallucinate.
You haven't been diagnosed with it. That's what you mean to say.
Okay, Corey, yes, I have not been diagnosed with it. But I just think that it's definitely possible. To say
Okay.
that there's not is definitely closed-minded, I think.
Okay. All right. That's a good answer. I'm that way too. I'm skeptical. What do they call it? Someone that don't believe in God, agnostic. They,
Uh-huh.
they can't prove it. Not. That's kind of how I am about it. There's stuff that you can't explain, but
Well, I've begun to
there's
realize that I
definitely
I think I'm
something.
less religious and more spiritual. Like, I'm definitely more spiritual, less religious as I get older.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm not religious at all anymore.
I was raised religious, but I definitely believe there's something. We just don't
Something.
know what it is.
Right. That's what I always said. It's like the force. There's good and evil. I believe that for sure.
And I think everybody's religion is right. Some of it is, and it's just everybody's different interpretations. I think all of them have positive aspects. It's where the negative aspects come in where everybody starts to disagree.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
What about you, Renee? Do you believe in ghosts?
I do. I think it's everybody's opinion and experience. I have had experiences with ghosts. I've seen ghosts.
What ghosts have you seen?
Uh, at a place that I worked many years ago with Anna. Uh, I've seen
At the convent?
at the convent. Yes, I seen a ghost in the old time black and white long coat. I don't know what it's called. Um, I've seen a ghost there. I've experienced ghosts. So have you with me at the same time twice.
Well, I'm not going to say that it was a ghost. Let me lay it down for you.
All right,
Um,
I'm gonna listen.
Renee and I were on a trip to a friend of ours, good friend. He'd moved into this house in Arkansas, and he was kind of like a farmhouse. And he had his bedroom was a room that had the big bed in it, and that's where me and Renee were going to sleep. That's where he put us. Had the biggest bed, and we're the biggest people, I guess. So that's where we got. But anyway, his I don't remember. He had told that story about watching around, walking around with burning sage and stuff, and trying to welcome himself into the house when he first got there, and that kind of stuff. And because he's like that, he's kind of ate up. But God love you. What's up, Fred? He his dog Maggie wouldn't go in this one room, the bedroom, the room that we ended up sleeping in, and but
She
the
wouldn't
dog
go.
would never go in there. Like if you threw her ball in there, she wouldn't go in there and chase it. She'd get to the door and stop and just sit and stare in there. She wouldn't go in there. So anyway, that's the room that he put us in, and he had this old wrought iron bed, a big king size or whatever size bed it was. It was big enough to fit us both, so it had to be pretty big. Wrought iron, but he had hardwood floors, and he had the bed up on like little squares of plywood to keep the wrought iron bed legs from digging into his hardwood floors. You know what I'm saying? He had like
Yeah.
coasters. He had like coasters on
Yeah.
them. So we go to bed that night. We're down there, and it's a new place. And anytime you're sleeping in a new place for the first time, it's kind of weird and shit. So we're in there getting ready to go to bed, and Renee gets on the bed, and she's laying down, and I go and I sit on the edge of the bed, take my shoes off or whatever it was I was doing, and I kind of turned around and hiked my leg up on the bed mattress or whatever, and the bed fell, like it fell down, as if it had been like picked up and dropped. And I thought we broke the bed. I was like, oh no, we're such big fat heifers that we broke the damn bed again. You know what I mean? Like, great. Now we've ruined Ed's antique,
Mm.
So I get down on the ground and I look, and there's nothing broke anywhere. There's no.
That hasn't moved.
The frame is made of iron. It's fine. The mattress and box springs are fine. Nothing's broken anywhere. We hadn't heard any crack or anything. Just the bed had moved. And I was like, you did feel that, right? She said, yeah, no, it moved. How did we break? Well, I look, and I thought for a second that one of the legs had fallen off these little coasters that he had it
Yeah,
set
that's
on.
what I was thinking.
They weren't. They were all still up on there. Every one, all four.
That's
So then
yeah.
we hear maniacal laughter, like people in a ruckus laughing in each other. And I thought that it was because my oldest two sisters got put in a room together, and they were next door to us. And I thought it was them goofing around, going to bed. You know how when you sleep with your sister, you end up, farting and pulling the cover over her heads, and all kind of shit like that.
Yeah.
And I thought that's what they were doing, is grab assing and making a ruckus. But the next morning I said, man, I heard you guys in there goofing around and laughing and shit. What the hell are you doing? We were playing steamroller or whatever. And they were like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. And I was like, no, we heard you guys laughing and shit. And they were like, no, we weren't. We didn't do any of that. There wasn't any laughter. We didn't laugh. So I don't want, and it kind of freaked us out. I don't want to say that it was a ghost, because I don't know that it was a ghost, but I don't know what it was. It was something. I can't explain why the bed moved. Something moved it. It wasn't us.
Twice.
It seems like did happen more than once.
did.
Maybe it was bent or something.
No, it happened twice. Like on two different nights.
I mean, sounds like definitely something. I mean, it could have been. You just don't know. And that's my whole thing, is you don't know. So what are you gonna do? Like,
I'll definitely say I don't know.
yeah, I don't know. But I have experience at the convent.
Yeah.
Like, I have experienced ghosts before.
Right
And
on.
so it was one night, I worked the afternoon shift because I was still in high school. We got there after school, and we worked till 6, and then we would close up the kitchen and we leave. And we all went and clocked out, and then we were leaving, and we turned off all the lights as we walked out. And I noticed there was a light on, so I turned around to go into the boss's office, turn her light off. And as I was going back around, it was all dark. And they were waiting for me at the back. And I had seen a sister over by Renee's station. And I had walked over there and I had seen her. And so I started walking over there. I said, Sister, it was Sister Mary Dennis. I know it was. And I walked over. I said, Sister Mary Dennis, do you need something before we go? Is there something I can get you, Sister Mary Dennis? And as I got all the way almost to it, the whole entire image just dissipated. And I did not feel scared. I did not feel anything. The most I felt right then was just peace, instant peace. But it wasn't Sister Mary Dennis. It just looked like her.
Mhm.
And then at the convent, I mean, I've seen those spirits walking around that were dressed like nuns. You've seen them once a month. You'd seen them walking around the cemetery. You were out early in the morning. You were walking in. You look over the cemetery. You'll see one walking. I
Yeah,
promise you.
that place was old too, man.
Oh,
and it
yeah,
was
it was
a
super old.
it was a retirement home. That's where they went to retire, all the old nuns. So that, there was a bunch of them that died there.
Yep.
But if you go back, I'm sorry, were you finished? I was gonna move it along to a different. It going
Yeah,
back to
absolutely.
what are they? Why are they here? You would think that nuns would go to heaven. They wouldn't be trapped here on earth as a spirit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's the thing. Maybe their life purpose wasn't to be a nun. Maybe they had other purposes and learned other lessons that they need to be learning throughout this life, but they didn't get to learn them because they lived that life. And so now they're stuck in their next life as that. Who knows? I mean, you just don't know. You
Well,
could come up with all kinds of reasons.
they would, their religion teaches that's an impossibility. You live the life that God has lived for, set for you, and you will go to heaven. You will be at the right hand of God.
And that's the thing about heaven. Who's to say heaven isn't here? What if heaven's here, but just a different realm? So, like, because sometimes you can feel people. Like, I can feel people. So, how can I, if my mom's in heaven, how come I can feel her? And that's another thing. Like, how come I
Yeah.
can't feel certain other people?
Oh. I could offer an explanation, but I don't think it'll be satisfactory.
Probably. I mean, none of it is.
So what you're saying is what you're feeling is your mom's spirit or her ghost still here, watching over you.
No, I feel her guiding. Like, I can feel her. I can feel the answer. Like, I can feel when I'm lost or when I'm, questioning things or whatever. I can feel her opinion. And maybe that's just because I was raised by her, so I know what she would say.
I
So
think
it's
it's
that
her
little voice
influence.
inside of
Yeah.
me.
I think it's more her influence on your life than, she raised you to think that way.
Yeah.
It raised you to think the way you think.
Yeah.
Strong, independent woman and all that kind of stuff. And critical thinker, think about stuff.
I
We
don't know,
also,
man. I just don't know. But I do feel like I see things. Like when I see videos of things, sometimes I feel like, okay, whatever. But sometimes I get the hairs on the back of my neck and I'm like, ooh, that seems
No.
definitely.
I never see any footage anywhere where I go, oh my God, that definitely could be a ghost. The most of the videos that I see, whoever's posting it says, well, there's no way there could be anything but a ghost. Look at it. There's no way. Like, well, I think there's lots of explanations for lots of stuff. There's more than one explanation for why our bed moved that night. I don't know what they are, what the reasons are, but there's got to be an explanation for it. It occurred.
Why?
We
Why
both
does there have
witnessed
to
it.
be a scientific explanation for it?
Well, it doesn't have to be scientific, but there has to be a reason for it to occur. It physically happened. So there has to have been some kind of interaction. You know what I mean? Like if you go to bed and you set an apple on your nightstand and you wake up in the morning and that apple is on the floor, something knocked it off. And there's
Right.
it could have been a ghost. It could have been you thrashing in your sleep. It could have been an earthquake. There's always more than one thing that it could be, but there's always something that it was. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So even though I've never seen a ghost. I don't have any physical vision of one. I have unexplained experiences. We've had doors and drawers and stuff open and close at our house by themselves. I always took it to be like, it was an old drafty house and, it was uneven and not square. And the doors didn't stay open all the time when you opened them. Sometimes they closed themselves. And if they weren't latched all the way, they opened themselves sometimes. When the wind blew outside, you can hear it. You can hear your house sucking and expanding when the wind's blowing outside.
Hmm.
There's also, growing up, my brother and his wife were staying at our house, and I wasn't even born yet, I don't think, or I was very young if it was, 2 or 3. And for whatever reason, they were staying at our house, and they were sleeping on a pallet in the living room floor because we only had 2 bedrooms. Well, 3 technically, but 2 real ones. um, and Patty, my brother's wife, was awakened out of the sleep by a punch. Someone punched her. And it wasn't David. He was turned away from her, and she was turned away from him. She thought that's who it was, and she rolled over, and he was laying facing away from her, sleeping, snoring. So it wasn't him, but there was no one else there. That's in the same place where all the doors and drawers are opening on their own. And we called her Mary Ann.
Well, I
And
mean, I definitely think that there's places that are, visited by spirits and stuff. I mean, you see things happen. There are definitely people who have stories. There's lots of people who have stories. There's lots of people who have the same stories from the same places without ever knowing. So, I mean, to sit here and deny it completely, that seems a bit naive.
yeah,
But to sit here and say that it's all real, that seems really naive too.
yeah. And it's too fantastic. It's too much to swallow.
But I guess my question is, does it bother you if there's ghosts around us? Does that do anything to you? Or because like for me, I don't care. Like it wouldn't bother me to know that there's some just around me right now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it depends on if they're benevolent or not. If they're are malevolent. What's the word? Malevolent?
Well, if they weren't, you wouldn't know. I think those are the ones that cause and wreak havoc.
Yeah. Yeah. Or mischief.
Yeah.
Knocking shit off the counters and okay. I
Now,
don't
have
know.
you been around like things that have moved and stuff?
Well,
No.
other than doors and drawers being like knowing that I left it closed and it was open when I went back and the door closing or opening by itself. I haven't had any physical anything. And the bed. The bed moved.
So you've never
But
seen anything move?
no. The door.
Well, one thing that used to happen at the convent all the time is at the pot sink. So at the
Mm,
very back of the kitchen, we always had big sinks. There was 3 big sinks that we always washed the pots and the pans in and stuff. It was all the big things that we had to soak and blah blah blah. And every single night, if we always closed early, it only happened when we were done early. And you would wipe out the sinks and you would always dry them. And then if we were leaving early, the sinks would always turn back on.
Yep. Yep.
And but if you were leaving early and you knew you were leaving early and you just waited and the sinks were like what you did as you were walking out, then you could get out of there before they turned back on. Like they would turn back on. But if you left late, you could wipe them out and sit there and wait and they never turn back on.
mhm.
It's only if we were leaving early.
And
And
that
you would
happened.
watch the handles. You could sit there. You would sit there. I sat there one day, dried them all out, went back behind the station, the cook station, and waited. And I watched the handles go, boop, and it turned back on.
Hmm.
And I stared at it. And I was like, the lady I was working with, I was hitting her arm. I was telling her, okay, I watched it this time. I know I'm not crazy. She goes, honey, I never said you were crazy. We've been telling you you're right. I was like, I had to I had to tell myself, I had to believe it to myself. Because all of them were like, yeah, it's okay. That's what happens all the time.
Hmm.
It's their norm.
Yeah, I've never seen anything like that. I wish there was some way we could have documented it. And that leads to another question. Can you actually physically record something that isn't physically here? How do they touch the handles of the faucet?
I don't know. I
There's
don't
things
know.
called EVPs. You ever hear of an EVP, which is an electronic voice phenomena? It's a recording, like an audio recording of a ghost talking or whatever. I
Yeah,
think
we have
that
Dan back, by the way.
I'm back.
Dan's back. Dan's back.
I'm
Off
back.
cam Dan, the big D in the woods. Welcome back, Dan. We're talking about ghosts.
All right.
Do you have anything to add to the ghost thing? Anna, you worked at the convent. No, didn't work at the convent. You worked for somebody at the convent.
No, I worked same thing. First job was
Okay.
washing dishes there.
Oh, okay.
But
Well,
no,
then you
I have
go-
never seen anything that I was sure was a ghost. I mean, going down to the basement, I always felt uneasy, like there was always somebody right around the corner or somebody watching, but it was dimly lit old basement, so
right.
it could have just been a mental thing.
It's influence, like suggestion. You're scared before you even go down there because of the thoughts of where you're going, and
Yeah.
the power of suggestion. I think that's what most of the you guys have watched. There used to be a show called The Scariest Places on Earth, and Taps, where they were ghost hunters, and they went around. And Zach Baggins has got a show where he does that kind of stuff too. But I think that's where most of anything they get in there and get themselves hyped up to the point they're sitting alone in the dark in this purportedly haunted place with the lights off, and they've got this ghost detector in their lap, and it blips. It makes a blip, and they lose their mind because they're so, you're already scared because you're sitting in the dark in this scary place. That doesn't prove there's a ghost in there because it blipped and you got scared, And the stuff I was talking about EVPs when Dan got back, but you have to have the suggestion. They always, when they're showing you these recordings they've got, they always have to say, now listen, when we play this, you're going to hear "get out," and they'll play it and it'll be like that little guy. And but it sounds like "get out" because they said you're going to hear "get out." It goes back to the old satanic panic in the 80s where they were playing heavy metal records backwards and telling you, oh, they're saying to go kill yourself for Satan. And that's not what it says at all. It's yeah.
Yeah, I do think that there's a lot of definitely there's a lot of persuasion. I think that has a lot to do with it. But I do think, man, I mean, there is stuff out there. We are not just like aliens. We are not the only ones in this world or in this universe or whatever you want to call it. We are not it. Just like on this, realm or whatever. We're
Yeah,
not it. We're not the only
plane.
place. The plane.
Plane
We're
of
not the only
existence.
plane.
Right. Yeah, I believe that too. There's other dimensions.
I don't think that it's I don't think we're supposed to understand though. I don't think we're and maybe we are, and that's why I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know if we're supposed to understand or not. I kind of think that we're an experiment from some advanced alien civilization.
Yeah,
They
who
farmed
knows?
us. They farmed us. We're not really.
I mean,
This didn't occur organically. They created all of us.
well, I mean, we can go into conspiracy theories because we got tons of them. You know,
It ain't no
there's
lot.
lots of stuff is plausible.
Yeah.
And I think that's where belief comes in. It's just whatever you believe in and
Yeah,
how you're going to live your life.
Whatever the evidence stacks up, whichever favor the evidence stacks up in.
And everybody has different evidence because everybody lives a different life. So your evidence is different than my evidence. So we're probably going to come to a different conclusion. We may come to the same one. I don't know.
All right. Well, what about objects? We've talked about houses being haunted, convents being haunted. What about an object? Can it be transferred from person to person, like Annabelle, or the doll that the Warrens found? It was a doll that was haunted. I think technically that was a demon, though. I'm not sure it was a ghost, but
I think it's the power of the mind. I think that if you go into a different realm, I think if you have that power of mind, or if you have the if somebody can possess your body, it's because you have the power to let them,
Well,
or they have the power to do it.
okay, but that's my question. We were talking about suggestion and people thinking that ghosts exist because of suggestion and influence. Can an object that you can't influence be haunted? Do you have any experience with any of that? Do you ever any, like I said, Annabelle or those? You ever hear of a Dybbuk box?
No, what is that?
It's actually an old, I think it's Jewish, an old Hebrew, not superstition, like folklore, like a myth kind of a deal. Uh, what do they call that? Urban legend. And it's a box that they've contained this evil spirit in. You can allegedly buy them on the internet. They're real. I've seen a bunch of videos of guys that have bought them off the internet and opened them up in their house as a joke. And then the next thing you know, they lose their house, they lose their business, their wife leaves them, and all this kind of bad stuff happens to them right after they've opened it up. And they say, "Don't open them up." And well, why are they selling it to you? They don't want you. You know, it's all a crap. I don't believe it's an actual real thing, but
But then does that go back to what you put out into the world is what you're getting back? Because there is that. I mean, if you put a bunch of negative shit in the world, you're getting negative shit back. Is that just because that's the way your brain is thinking? So is the whole ghost thing just because that's what your brain is allowing you to see? Maybe people who don't see ghosts are closed off to the idea, so they don't see it.
I'm not closed off to the idea, but I don't see them.
Maybe subconsciously you are and don't know it.
I think that stuff happened to them out of coincidence. I don't believe that it was the Dybbuk box that did it. You know, they ordered
How
this thing
come-
off.
So what about mediums and stuff that say that they can talk to the other side and all that stuff?
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I think that's a bunch of hooey. I don't believe it. I knew a person. Well, you know what? As a matter of fact, I don't. I believe in it less than I do ghosts. I think ghosts could be more possible, more probable than spirit. You know, mediums being able to. That's just cold reading. I've seen too much of that stuff. It's an old, like a magician's trick, like
So
a
you don't
street
believe in like
performer.
telepathy at all?
Well, telepathy isn't the same thing as being able to talk to the dead.
Yeah, I think it's minds talking to the minds.
Right,
And I don't think
right.
I think they're spirits. I think they're talking to the spirits, not to the dead.
I think that you could communicate without talking verbally. You know, I believe that telepathy exists in that way. Like twins have a kind of a bond that no one else has. Like, you know, one could live in New York, one could live in California, and one of them would need the other one, and just feed. You know, the other one would go, "Oh my God, she needs me." You know what I mean? But that's not the same thing as what I'm talking about. It's somebody going, you know, standing in front of a crowd and going, "Over in this area, I'm feeling an R or an L or an S."
Okay,
Or
see, yeah, that's
T.
where
And
I
somebody goes,
think
"Yeah, I
that
got
there's
T." Okay, T, is it Terry, Tim? And so, you know, that's cold reading. That's not being a medium. Remember in
yeah,
the
I would
movie?
agree with that. And I don't really agree with that. But I think that there are definitely people who can go to different realms in their brains and discuss and
Sure.
communicate.
Okay.
And but I think that that takes a lot of time to have that ability to do that.
I think that can be taught. There's
Yeah.
a thing called remote viewing. Have you ever heard of remote viewing?
Yeah.
That's kind of like being able to travel through space and time using the collective consciousness of all
Yeah.
the
Have
people.
you ever watched the telepathy tapes?
I
Listen to them.
haven't. I haven't. You asked me about that the other day. I have not.
You should invest in that. And
Are
I
they
mean,
on
it takes
YouTube?
some time to get through them. I will promise you that because I'm only on episode 5, I think, 4 or 5. But
And
it's definitely made me change the way. I mean, it definitely adds a lot of questions to the way I was thinking about things. That's for sure.
yeah, that's always good too, though.
I know that's why I like it, and that's why I keep listening to it because I'm like, yeah, this is not a viewpoint that I've thought about
Yeah,
or you know
different
witnessed or
perspective.
seen or anything. You know.
So we don't know. We don't know if items can be haunted or not.
I think people think they can be, and I guess maybe sometimes they can. I'm not going to sit here and say that they can't,
Well, I
I'm not-
guess you have to definitely definitively say you believe in ghosts in order to say can an object
I
be
do
haunted.
believe in ghosts.
Like
I do.
Christine, the movie Christine. Once again, we're back to horror movies.
Yep,
Stephen
and
King,
no, I
Christine.
don't
Did
know
you
it.
ever see that? Gosh dang you! It's about a car. It's a car that's possessed. Okay, can that car be possessed? I guess if haunting is what we say it is, that a car can be haunted just as well as a house or a building, or I guess
Okay,
even a
well, what
person.
about like amulets or necklaces or like,
Relics?
family have,
Yeah, relics,
rings.
holy relics. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, like all the things. Are they what possess what they say they possess? I don't know.
I
Don't
don't know.
know.
I don't know either.
But I'm interested. So if anybody has any information on that, please shout it out.
Yeah,
Because
I want everybody watching to comment if they believe in ghosts or not, and if they've had any experiences. That'd be great. I'd love
yeah,
to
and
hear
what's
it.
your proof? What's your proof?
Yeah,
Like
evidence.
your sole proof.
I definitely
Yeah,
think there's more to existence than the physical world, but I don't know how to prove or how to show that there is. I just, from all the things that I've read, seen, heard, and all the different accounts from all over, even biblical. I mean,
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
so
Yeah, and the thing about the Bible is that even if what they're saying isn't necessarily saying it was a ghost or an alien or whatever, they didn't have any form of reference or frame of reference for any of this stuff. If you if they were to see in their mind an image of a submarine, they wouldn't know what a submarine is. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
submarines didn't exist yet. They were riding donkeys and paddling boats. And you're talking about mediums. Nostradamus was a, what do you call him, a soothsayer or a prophet or medium or whatever you want to call him, psychic, I guess.
Mhm.
Uh, some of the stuff that he described, it sounds so vague and obscure because the thing that he saw in his vision, he
He
didn't
had
know
no
what it
idea what
was.
it was.
Right. They talk about the chariot in the sky in the Bible, that going across. Well, a chariot in the sky, is that literally a dude being pulled by a horse on a chariot flying across the sky, or is it a spaceship that he can't describe? When they talk about Jonah and the whale, how do we know that the whale was an actual whale? That could it have been an alien craft that came out of the ocean and scooped him up because he got spit out sometime later alive? You get swallowed by a whale, you're going to die. Probably going
Well,
to drown, suffocate.
what if the thing in the sky was an airplane and the whale was a submarine? I mean, you just
Yeah,
don't even know
yeah.
because it's all perspective.
They'd have no way to describe it either. They couldn't. They wouldn't know.
and with the Bible, you do have some loss of translation. Like, what were they in the original text?
Oh
Maybe
yeah,
that word had multiple meanings, and whoever was translating it wrote down a different meaning than what they had originally intended.
yeah. Well, and that's why the four gospels are different. People talk about them how they contradict each other. They don't really, but it's four different people's perspective on the same event. So you'd get four different sets of
Truth.
account.
They're four different truths, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, I reckon so. If you believe it, it is that way.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Can't believe it that way.
You'd have to believe it for it to be true, but
Yeah, it's their truth, whoever's saying it.
far out. Okay. Well, I don't think our house is haunted. Is your house haunted?
I don't think so. I do feel some things every now and then, and I have more a feeling than seeing somebody, more than like I don't think somebody's there. But I do all the time think that, and it really happens more when I'm alone at the house. I had nobody else can be here. But it doesn't matter what room I'm sitting in, I always see people in my peripheral walk by.
That's what I just was going to say. I see shadow people more than I see ghosts.
But I see people in my peripheral the entire time when I'm home by myself. But when people are here in the house, I don't ever see that.
I see it all the time, and like I say, it's not it's not people, it's motion. basically, but I see it out of
It's
the corner of my
bodies.
eye.
It
And
for
I turn
me,
my
I
head and
know
there's
it's
nothing
bodies.
there.
Oh yeah,
I
every
see it
single
on the
time I
ground. I think
turn.
something is scurrying across the ground, and I look down, and I guess it's possible. Sometimes things are scurrying across the ground. We do have spiders and water bugs and mice and shit like that running around our house. You guys do too. You live in the country, so you got them more than me probably. But although I've never really seen them at your house.
Yeah, we have critters. I mean, we live
Yeah.
in the middle of the woods. We have critters. I mean, that's just
Yep.
how it works. We
Yep.
do a pretty good job of keeping them. We don't really have the first year lived here. We had mice in the house.
Yeah.
But we've done pretty good about trying to keep them out, and we have cats
You
and
got
stuff.
kitties
So we
now.
don't. Yeah,
It makes a big difference. And
it does.
we have a lot. We had a lot less spiders and bugs and shit when we had cats too, because they would just
Mhm.
eat things. But
Absolutely.
thank God we don't have that problem anymore.
Well, I think my cat is pregnant, so
I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that, Anna. I don't want to hear that.
I knew it was the greatest news for you. I
No,
knew
it's
you'd
not.
be
No,
so
no. You and
ecstatic
I.
whenever I
Look,
told you that.
you're responsible for several of those damn cats we
Only
had.
2.
Well, 2 is enough.
Well, I am looking forward to the kittens. So yes.
We don't know for sure because we don't know what's going on with her. I gotta take her to the vet or something. But I mean, either she's um, having that false pregnancy thing again, or she's definitely pregnant because she's twice the size that she usually is. So we'll see. To be continued. I'll let you know later.
No, don't let us know.
Yes, do. Thank you.
Why don't we just take that cat and skin it and put it on a spit and roast it over a fire?
Corey, you cannot say that about my cat.
Well, or you wait till them kittens are born and do it to them, and they're small. There ain't much meat on them, but
Stop.
they're so tender and delicate when they're that young.
Don't you laugh either, because it's not funny. We're not promoting that behavior.
Yes,
Terrible.
we are. And make a nice hat out of their fur.
Corey.
Maybe a pair of gloves, some nice mittens, kitten mittens. Come on. He's so warm.
I don't even like you right now with the kitten mitten
You
idea.
do too.
That's not
You
even funny.
You love me. Come on. Everybody loves me.
No, I do love you, but I don't like your hate for cats in your home.
I love cats. I'm just so done with them. I do think about getting a dog, but we don't have a fence. If I had a fence, we'd get a dog. You know what else? Even if we had a fence, just them coming in with muddy feet. You know what I mean? I don't want that.
Yeah, it's disgusting. I live
The
in the
water
middle of
bowl.
the country.
The water bowl. They just can't drink water without making a mess everywhere. Having to get up in the middle of the night to go let them take a poop. I just can't. All that kind of having to hurry up and get home because the dog was left inside.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. All of the above. Or you go outside and they're trying to bring in a dead deer carcass.
Yeah, they've rolled around in a 3-month-old dead skunk that's been laying in the backfield.
Or better yet, they both get sprayed by the skunk and they can't even come up near your house because you smell it through the damn house. Like through the walls of the house. They were outside. I could still smell it.
Tasty.
Awful.
Them skunks taste good too. You can cook them too.
Dogs are a lot more work, I think, than cats.
Cats are way easier to take care of.
Yes, and cats, they can be like inconvenience you. They can definitely inconvenience you, but they don't cost me thousands of dollars like dogs do. Like dogs just, I mean, I love my dogs, but do you know how many times I've had a $50 worth of meat on my counter and go back in there and it's gone?
Yeah. The your dog actually, the first time that we house sat for you, we went to the grocery store, man, barbecued up a bunch of hamburgers, had a big old spread going, had it all sitting on the stove. Me and Renee took our plate and went in the living room, was watching TV and eating dinner. Man, this is good. I'm gonna go get me another one.
No, you're not.
Just about that time, I was like, "Where's Achilles? He was just here." Oh, well, la-di-da-di, go get me a hamburger. Nope, the plate's not even up there. Like the whole plate is gone. All the hamburgers are gone. The plate is licked completely clean over in the corner somewhere, and he's laying down in the corner looking real suspicious.
Yeah, he's saying, what hamburgers? I
Totally
don't remember there
guilty.
being any hamburgers.
and his belly was nice and fat because we made like 12 hamburgers, man. He ate every goddamn one of them.
Yeah, the other day I cooked a roast, pretty nice size 4-pound roast in my, did a whole thing. And Dan got home and I went in there and it was gone.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
I skipped lunch that day. I was ready for some dinner.
Oh no, and there was none.
I had
none.
stewed veggies. That's what I had.
Yeah, which was not satisfying.
No.
Nutritious, yes. Tasty, even yes, but not satisfying.
That dog has done that to us so many times.
Well,
Or we get up in the morning and the trash is literally all over
Yeah,
the
I've
kitchen.
witnessed that too. If he wasn't as big as a person, like you wouldn't think Xena would know. You'd never think she could even get up there. She probably could, but she's not as apt to do it as he would because his head is right there.
Yeah, he doesn't have to
He
do
just
anything. He
always
just
reach
walks over
over
and sticks his head
grab
in.
it. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a big German Shepherd.
He's giant. I always tell I know another German Shepherd named Perun, and every week when I go to band practice, I tell him, like, man, you're handsome, boy, but you are such a runt compared to that Achilles. Achilles is like 2 or 3 times bigger than him.
Every single time I see another male German Shepherd, I always think it's a puppy
Yeah.
because
Or
mine is so huge.
real young.
And I don't
right, yeah.
realize it.
I never seen a bigger German Shepherd than him. He's a monster, man. His hands are as
Huge.
big as my face. His paws, they're that big, and just as sweet as can be.
He's really skittish, and that's why we got him, is because
Yeah.
the local police department had bred him from one of their dogs to go into the academy. And so they bred him and then they put him in the academy and he was way too skittish
Yep.
and could not handle the intensity of the training. So they had to find a home for him pretty quickly. And we had a lot.
Failed out of the academy.
Failed out of the police academy. And
Failed police officer.
definitely see why. The boy is so scary. He is very scary. But if you even if I'm yelling at one of the kids or even, something outside, or whatever it is, he is peeing in the corner because he is so scared.
Yeah, the German Shepherds that we had peed. Every time we took them to the vet, I had to pick them up and put them on the table, and they would just stand there and just pee everywhere. I'm like, come on, man, what is your deal? And be shaking, doing a little quiver kind of a thing,
I mean, he's how old, Ben?
Oh man.
8?
At
Yeah.
least
He's almost
10.
8, and he
Yeah, he's getting up there.
still
Holy
pees
smoke.
every single time that he is even remotely scared.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I have to get him out of the house, I have to talk real gentle to him to
Yeah.
get him out. Like, come on. Because if I yell at him to get out of the house, I have to clean up pee.
Yeah, because he's, yeah, that's
So, even if he does something bad, we have to be like, all right, that was bad. And I give him the lecture, and I pick up the pizza thing and I'm like, this was bad. But I cannot be like, this was a bad dog and you go outside, because you can't move. He'll cower down and he'll just piss all over the place. So you have to be like, all right, that was bad, buddy. Now we have to go outside. And he'll get up. If you stay calm, he'll get up and he'll go outside because he knows what he did was bad. And he'll go outside. But if you get remotely angry or loud or anything, that's it. He's just like frozen down. He gets in the down position and pisses all over the place. And I think that's from the academy because he couldn't handle it.
It could be. I think Perun, the one I mentioned earlier, he's also like that. He's afraid of steps. We practice in Jim's basement, and there's a big long staircase going down the basement from the kitchen, and he will not go down that. But there's also a side door outside, that goes directly into the basement, and it's only like 4 or 5 concrete steps. And that's where we go when we take a break. We sit outside, and, my brother smokes and I vape, and he'll sometimes come down them steps, but he is so afraid of steps, man. I don't get it. Jim sent us all a meme or a video of an army dog or a Marine dog, and it was a soldier in the army. He was an officer or whatever you call him, soldier, I guess. But he was a dog, a canine dog, like a canine cop. But anyway, they were all paratrooper, jumping out of the plane to land wherever they were going, and this dog had a parachute on, and he ran and jumped out the back of this plane with the parachute on by himself. And he wasn't tied to nobody.
How does the parachute come out?
It's attached to the plane. That's how everybody's chute opens, is because it's attached to the plane. You don't got to open it yourself. You just jump out. if you're dropping 30 or 40 dudes out of the plane, it's attached to the plane, the ripcord. But anyway, he sent that, and he was like, yeah, I was like, remember the next time, Perun won't go down the steps to the basement and show him this and be like, look here, dude, come on. There's got to be a happy medium in there somewhere. You don't got to be this brave and badass, but come on, it's just steps.
Well, I do definitely play into his scariness because, like, we had the guys come and deliver our dryer, and they didn't even want to get out of the truck. So I had to call Achilles back up to the porch, and I held him, held his collar because I realized they were very scared. So I know Achilles is not going to do anything, but they got out of the truck and they were like delivering it, and they're like, they just had one eye on him the entire
Oh, yeah.
time.
Well,
And they were
sure.
like, "So is he okay?" And I was like, "Well, I mean, as long as you are, he will be." And that was enough for them to just be like, "Okay, here you go, ma'am, sign this and we'll see y'all." Like they just
Yeah.
and that's all I need him for, really. I mean, that's what his purpose is
Yeah.
to defend and protect. And he does that.
Well, at least give the impression that he will protect if he need be.
He definitely scares things away and alerts us if anything's going on. So, I mean, he does his job. So he can stay,
Yeah. Even though he's a big pain in the butt.
and he eats a lot of food. A lot of food. Big old dog.
All right. Well, what do you guys think? I had fun tonight. What do you think?
I had fun tonight too. How about you, Daniel?
Yeah, I think I missed a good portion of it, but
You did. That's
it was
all
good.
right. Yeah. All right. Well, I hope everybody at home did too. Thanks everyone for tuning in. I want to keep the comments and suggestions coming. It really does mean a lot to us. So thank you.
If there's
for
any
that.
topics anybody wants to hear about out there, please shout out. We'd love to get on something new, maybe we haven't learned about.
Yeah, a new topic. Let us know how we can improve. Like I said earlier, we're totally beginners and we're just goofing around and having fun. But check us out on Instagram and Twitter, X. Thanks, Elon. Should be some cool stuff coming over there pretty soon. You guys got anything?
I'm
Anybody?
good.
All
Nope.
right. Well, for everybody here at the None of the Above podcast, so long, everybody. And we'll see you next time.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.
Peace out.